Well guys, welcome back to the nest. Hope you're all keeping well. It's very cold today. Well, then again we're still winter and we're in the first part of the year, it's a new year. Big plans for this one. The YouTube channel being one of them. It's actually been snowing today guys, but I have the radiator on in my room, and I tell you what, whenever it gets really warm I have to open the window because I'll have trouble sleeping, and then I'll be wrecked in college all day. Anyway, tonight we're going to do another Disney movie. It's actually been a very long time since we've done a Disney movie. I think the last one we did was The Jungle Book from 1967. I tell you what, tonight's movie is actually another big one, but, well, I don't know if many people are, if it's that popular with that many people, but, I've heard lots of people talking about it. I've decided to review it. The film is The Aristocats, and yes, it's one of the two movies we're reviewing from 1970. Yeah, I will admit, it didn't seem like 1970 was that successful of a year for movies, The Aristocats only being one of them. But yeah, I really enjoyed this Disney movie. It is set in Paris in France in the year 1910. I gotta say, I did love the imagery. I'll tell you what guys, Paris is actually one of the places that I really want to go to in the whole wide world, City of Romance. I know it's, it might be quite cool, but see, to be honest, it actually looks really nice in the summer. I want to visit the Eiffel Tower and I just want to see the world, you know what I mean? I actually have an interrailing holiday coming up in June or July, it depends on when my friends and I decide to go, but we're going to be interrailing Europe. For those of you who don't know what interrailing is, basically we're going around a lot of places in the continent. Like the places we have our eyes on are like Budapest and Munich and Prague, and and these are cities I've never been to before. So I've always wanted to travel the world, and this is me getting my first glimpse, because I haven't really done that much traveling. Like I will admit, I've been to South Africa whenever I was 13 years old, and I will say that was the best holiday ever. Nothing can top that so far. But yeah, Paris looks lovely, and it still looked beautiful even back in 1910. The only way I know is through this movie. But basically this this woman, the Lady Adelaide, who's basically an aristocrat. Yeah. Aristocat, aristocrat. Aristocat. I don't know why I pronounce it, but either will do for me. But yeah, Lady Adelaide, I think she's an opera singer. She lives in this big mansion with her cat Duchess and Duchess's kittens, Berlioz, Toulouse and Marie. I will say, I think Marie is basically the face of the Aristocats because I've seen her in many of the merchandising lines. But yeah, and they're basically trying to become polite, elegant, and since Lady Adelaide has no living relatives of herself, she decides to pass on her will to her cats. I don't know how that's going to work, because how is a cat going to know how to use money? What can they use on it? Apart from catnip, of course. And a new ball, and the biggest fish that a cat could eat. I don't know. How would a cat even use money? But her butler Edgar overhears this. Now I will say, I think he's just a misunderstood character, because I don't think he had any intention of hurting the cats at all, but as soon as he finds out he won't be getting the money from them immediately, because cats 4 times 7, I'd be dead by the time all of them are dead. 4 cats. But cats don't actually have 9 lives. I actually don't even know where that comes from. But yeah, he decides to drug the cats with sleeping tablets, and he brings them out in the countryside. I will say, even though he was wrong kidnapping them, I'm actually quite glad to see he has no intention of properly killing them, if you know what I mean. But the cats are basically making their way home. Basically just have to make their way home from the countryside, But they come across this stray cat named Abraham de Lacy, Gabriel Soda Casey, Thomas O'Malley, O'Malley the alley cat. I can't remember his full name, but Thomas O'Malley will do for me. And he is such a smooth talking cat. He's handsome, and has a way with the ladies. He falls in love with Duchess first. Like, it's love at first sight with Duchess whenever he sees her. But obviously he's been put off by her having kids. Your eyes are like sparkling blue sapphires, honey. He's got away with words, you gotta admit. He's basically, I did find out that Thomas O'Malley is inspired by Tramp, and don't bear in mind that Tramp was a stray animal as well. But there are some differences. Like, Lady was already home, but she just needed to get away from Aunt Sarah. I mean, who could blame her? Aunt Sarah was horrible to her. And, the Siamese cats. And then Thomas O'Malley, he's trying to get them home from the very start, because, they've just been abandoned by a greedy butler. Everyone in the house, Roquefort, the mouse, and Frou the horse, and Lady Adelaide, of course, they're all upset that, the cats have been kidnapped. Edgar, however, is so pleased with himself. He doesn't understand that some animals are actually really quite smart, like Frou. He tries to, he thinks, oh no, she's so stupid, she won't understand this. Look, I've made the front papers, it was me. That will is mine. But, thing I want to know about Roquefort is why don't they, why don't the cats eat him? Like, that why are they so polite? It's probably, well, they are Aristocats. They're polite. They're of the upper class, and they don't want to hurt anyone. And Roquefort's like a brother to them in a way. Thing I also don't understand is why is it, even though the film is set in France, why is Duchess the only one with like a French accent? Like the two dogs who live on that farm and chase Edgar comically whenever he tries to abandon the cats, they've got the southern accents. No, Lafayette, I'm the leader. I'll decide when to go. This sure beats running, Napoleon. Yeah, I just can't get my head around it. Then again, sure, didn't the puppies in 101 Dalmatians have American accents even though it was set in London? I just don't understand these things, but anyway. But yeah, I will say, Thomas O'Malley really knows how to before I get into that, I did really enjoy the geese. Like, even though they're slow walking and they're basically waddling, they're able to bring them back into the city of France. The urban areas, and whenever they go to meet dear Uncle Waldo. Girl's my favourite nephew. He's basically hammered. Who wouldn't want to have a drink with Uncle Waldo? I do feel sorry for him, he tries to get killed in the beginning. And Thomas O'Malley even starts to warm up to him. You know what? I like Uncle Waldo. I realise it's the same guy who voices Baloo, and the guy who voices Roquefort, I've heard his voice many times in my Disney films. They just love to add many different actors, but they also have the same actors. It's good to work on many different projects, and the director of this movie has the same as the other two in The Sword and the Stone and The Jungle Book. The guy who directed them two is directing this movie as well. He has got a great taste in ideas. Like, he's had really some great ideas, and the visuals are brilliant. It's looking more, the animation's starting to become a wee bit more clear, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not as old fashioned. This one still seems a wee bit old fashioned, even though it was released in 1970. But it is starting to clear up a wee bit. Anyway, Thomas O'Malley decides to let him stay in this big attic that he has, and I gotta say, he has some great friends, and these cats are guys I would like to party with. A big jazz band, because don't bear in mind, jazz was still a big kind of music back in the day, and it's still relevant. I don't know, actually, yeah, 1910 jazz would have been very big. There were no rock bands back then, and it manages to stay in place with the setting of the film, in 1910. Wow, 60 years before the movie was actually released. Magnificent. I like how the song just starts off very slow. Everybody wants to be a cat. And then it just turns groovy, mama. Everybody, everybody, everybody wants to be a cat. I don't know if I want to be a cat. I don't want to be hot-tempered all my life, because just bear in mind, cats can be very aggressive animals. They are very good at getting rid of rats and everything. But I do like how the kids, are very fond of Thomas O'Malley. He's basically a father figure to them, and they're so happy whenever it turns out that him and their mother have fallen in love. Everyone needs a father in their life, I guess. And this movie reflects it. That's the thing I like about movies, is even though they're fake and that they're just stories, they do reflect on real life, if you know what I mean. And Disney, I do know I watch a lot of animated movies on this channel, but you gotta admit, like, Disney really is the proper heart of this channel so far. That and James Bond. Bear in mind, I'll have a lot of these very soon, the rest of them. I don't even think I've gone to the best part of Disney yet, I don't know what's going to happen with Disney very soon, but anyway. Duchess and the kittens manage to return home, but Edgar traps them in a big sack. It's just not fair. Why'd you come back? But luckily Roquefort manages to get a hold of O'Malley, and then he sends him off to the alley to get his friends involved. But of course, like normal alley cats would want to do, they decide to eat the mouse. But Roquefort manages to convince them. Why did I listen to that O'Malley cat? And they're on his side immediately. And I thought the funniest part of the movie is whenever the drunk guys are drinking in the streets, and then he sees Roquefort following the alley cats. He thinks that they're being chased by him. He's wanting to eat them. Prey is turned into the predator, and he just decides, okay, I'm going to quit drinking. Yeah, drink can do very funny things. It can make you see all sorts of stuff. Luckily they managed to fight off Edgar, and he himself gets shipped off to Timbuktu rather than the cats. The thing I want to know is, what happened to him in Timbuktu? Because I know it's in Africa, but what happened? Did he just live out in the streets homeless, or was he... I don't know what happened, but I don't even think he survived in that chest, because there was no air holes or anything, and he was still unconscious when he got knocked in. And I really gotta say, I really respect Lady Adelaide for this. Like, she writes Edgar out of the will, but because she obviously thinks that he's just decided to quit his job. Edgar would have never left if he knew about the will. But, she decides to adopt Thomas into the family. He becomes a stepfather to the kittens. That's another inspiration from Trump. Like him and Lady have their kids, but the difference is Trump is the biological father to his kids, but Thomas O'Malley's a stepfather. But he's basically a father in their eyes, because he's so good to them. Toulouse is basically like him. Toulouse just wants to fight. Meow, meow. Yeah, I can't do the hiss. I will admit, I do think Toulouse is probably my favourite out of the kittens, because he's just he's the hothead of the group. He just wants to take on things all by himself. But huge respect to Adelaide, because she decides to have a new foundation for all the stray cats of Paris. Have a home for them all. Because nobody wants to see a cat living out in the streets. It's not fair on them. They deserve a home. Even though I will admit, guys, I'm more of a dog person, but I do think cats should be equally treated as family, because I don't believe in being unfair, if you know what I mean. I think everything deserves to be included. But best part is whenever they decide to end the movie with everybody wants to be a cat, a big party that everyone's home safe. Edgar's gone for good. Guess that means Lady Adelaide's going to have to find a new butler, maybe. We never know. That's another thing. At the end of 101 Dalmatians, Roger and Anita decide to start a Dalmatian plantation. Lady Adelaide has decided to start a foundation for all the stray cats in Paris. So that we have a dog foundation and a cat foundation in two different Disney movies. We've got, like, I think another reason why they made this movie is because, you know, Disney was known for making films about dogs, you know, with Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians. And then, you know, cats obviously deserve the spotlight as well, you know, in this, the Aristocats. But yeah, it ends with Napoleon going to Lafayette. I'm the leader. I'll decide when it's the end. Bong! It's the end. But yeah, that's the end of the movie, guys. And I will admit, you know, I'm very fond of this one. You know, it was light-hearted. It wasn't too dark. You know, I like how Edgar was comic in this movie. Like, he's not like all the other Disney villains, like the Queen and the Cruella de Vil. You know, not too dark. You know, even though he did kidnap the kittens and Duchess, you know, he didn't want to kill them. If you know what I mean. But yeah, I'd probably give this movie like a 8 out of 10 if I had to rate it. I don't usually rate movies, you know, I'll just tell you whether it's good or bad or not. But I just can't wait for all the other Disney movies that we'll have coming up. There probably won't be another one for a while because, you know, I need to get this year out of the way, and then I'll see what. Don't forget, at the start of every year I look at the set list of what's coming up. But I'm really excited for this channel this year. Like, I do hope that it takes off this year, guys, and I do have big plans for it. You know, in the next few months, hopefully it'll have taken off, and I'll be known on here in some way. You know, I'm just hoping someone watches my videos, but I gotta say, I do hope it doesn't get to my head, because, you know, you're basically famous on YouTube. You know, I do know I should probably humble myself a wee bit more, because, you know, it's just you know, I'm on an internet platform, but, you know, if I'm making money in some way and, you know, everyone knows who I am, you know, I just can't let it go to my head. But I just want this year to go perfect, guys. Well, not perfect, but I just hope it goes better than the last few after what we've all been through. Remember, guys, friends and family are all you have at the end of the day. I don't want to get into all that, but I just want you guys to know I hope this year goes well for all of you out there. I have big plans for this channel, and keep the notifications on so you can see what's going to happen. Hopefully I'll be starting to edit and add a wee bit more into my videos. You know, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications for more. Comment what you would like to see next. Tell all your friends, and, you know, hopefully the next movie will probably be like another James Bond or another Disney movie. We don't know yet, but we'll just have to. I'll check the set list of 1970. Well, I've only got one other movie to do in 1970, and then we're on to the next one. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I love you all to death. Take care now.